The great chamber of the Galaxy Council was alive with chatter. Hundreds of delegates from countless worlds walked through golden halls and polished floors. Their voices echoed, rising and falling like waves. Every corner of the room was filled, with leaders wearing uniforms, robes, and armor that shimmered with strange lights. Some were tall and thin, some were small and round, and some had shapes that seemed impossible for a living being. They were united by one thing: power. Every species in the galaxy wanted to be seen as stronger than the others. And today, their attention was on Earth. Earth had joined the galactic community only 50 years ago, and it was still new, still small in the eyes of the Council. The aliens called humans primitive. They said humans were emotional, weak, and unable to fight like the other species. But one human stood among the Council, her posture straight, her voice calm and firm. She was Laura Bennett, the Terran ambassador. Her hair was tied back, her suit plain but neat. She carried no weapons. She carried only words. Laura stepped forward. Silence spread across the chamber. Every eye turned to her. She did not speak with anger. She did not yell or threaten. She spoke with truth. "Leaders of the Galaxy Council," she said, her voice soft but strong. "I come with a warning. Do not attack Earth. If you do, humanity will never stop. We will hunt you forever." The words made a ripple across the chamber, but it was not fear. Some of the aliens laughed. The Zarkon chairman leaned back in his chair, a long, scaly tail curling behind him. He chuckled. "Hunt us forever?" he said. "Humans are weak. You think your little planet can threaten us? You will fall before you even begin." The Eltharian diplomat, a being with silver skin and glowing eyes, tapped its long fingers together. "Yes," it said in a soft musical voice. "Your threats are meaningless. We have conquered hundreds of worlds. What makes you think you are different?" Laura did not flinch. She looked at them all, her eyes steady. "Because we fight differently. You think strength is only weapons and fleets, but humans do not fight like that. When our families die, when our homes burn, when our people are crushed, we do not surrender. We adapt. We survive. And we never forget. You will remember us, but not in the way you hope." Some of the younger delegates giggled. Some whispered to each other. "Emotional fire monkeys," one said. Another called her a human fool. The Council believed that her warning was just a story, a tale to scare children. They believed humans would vanish under their fleets like all other weak species. They did not see the truth. Laura's aide, a young man named Aaron Pike, watched nervously from the side. He had traveled with Laura from Earth to this meeting, and he understood the danger. He whispered, "Do you think they will listen?" Laura shook her head. "They do not want to listen," she said softly. "But they will remember, even if it takes 100 years. The Council had already decided. They wanted Earth's resources. They wanted control over the human colonies scattered across the stars. The vote came quickly. It was nearly unanimous. Operation Containment would begin immediately. Council fleets would move to seize colonies, destroy human fleets, and bring Earth to its knees. The laughter in the chamber was loud. No one believed humans could survive such power. Laura left the chamber quietly. Her steps echoed on the marble floors. She did not look back. Aaron followed her, worried. "Do you think we can stop them?" he asked. Laura paused in a small hall outside the chamber. She looked at the distant stars shining through a massive window. "No," she said. "We cannot stop them, not today. But humans do not give up. They never have. And we will fight back, in our own way." On Earth, people did not yet know what was coming. They lived their lives, unaware that fleets from the Galaxy Council were moving toward their colonies. Schools continued. Businesses opened. Ships left ports for faraway worlds. Humanity was unaware of the storm heading for them. The Council thought it would be a simple conquest. They believed they would crush a weak species in days. They did not know humans. Colonies were spread across the galaxy. On Erebus 4, tall cities rose among red deserts. Mining ships carried rare metals back to Earth. On Luna Gate, floating platforms harvested energy from strange suns. Kepler's Reach had research stations studying unknown stars. Humans were explorers, settlers, dreamers. But now they were targets. Every colony was a prize for the Council's fleets. When the first ships arrived, there was confusion. Human defenses were unprepared. Early warning systems were outdated. Alarm sirens wailed across the colonies, but they could not match the Council's fleets. They had hundreds of ships, thousands of weapons, and centuries of experience in war. They struck without mercy. Cities burned. Millions died in hours. Families were destroyed before they could run. The Council watched from their worlds, thinking victory was simple, thinking humanity was finished. But humans survived. They always did. In hidden bunkers, on small freighters, people ran. Young pilots, engineers, and soldiers fled into deep space. Among them was Ethan Brooks, a skilled pilot who had lost his family to the bombardments. He led dozens of ships through asteroid fields, past enemy fleets, always hiding. "We may be few," he told his crew, "but we are not gone. We will fight. We will survive. And they will remember us." On Earth, the destruction was even worse. Major cities were attacked directly. Washington, New York, Los Angeles. All were leveled by energy weapons and bombing runs. Governments collapsed. Military forces tried to defend themselves, but they were spread too thin. People ran for shelter, but there were few places safe enough. Panic spread. Earth was burning. The Council celebrated. They had won, or so they thought. In the ruins of Washington, General Linda Carter walked among the rubble. Her uniform was scorched, her face streaked with ash. Her command center was destroyed, and she had only a few soldiers left. She looked at the sky, filled with Council ships patrolling above, and she felt anger unlike anything she had known. She clenched her fists. "If humanity falls," she said quietly, "we will fall clawing. We will not disappear quietly. They will learn our name. They will never forget." Deep underground, in vaults built decades ago, humans activated old military AIs. These machines had been stored for emergencies, sealed away to be used only when the worst happened. Now the worst had come. The AIs awakened, lights flickering to life. They analyzed data, weapons, and fleets. They calculated strategies and plans. Humanity had not given up. It was only waiting. Above, the Council continued their celebrations. Their broadcast played across the galaxy. They mocked the humans' warning again, calling it childish and weak. To them, the war was over. They believed the humans had been crushed completely. The colonies were gone. The fleets were destroyed. Earth itself was crippled. In their eyes, the galaxy was safe. They laughed, not knowing that laughter would be remembered. Laura Bennett's words, whispered before she left, echoed in the minds of a few. "They have no idea what they just started," she had said to Aaron Pike. She had known the truth. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was never weak. They did not need fleets or weapons to strike fear. They needed survival, patience, and memory. And humans had all three in abundance. Aaron Pike looked at the stars, thinking of what was to come. He felt fear, but he felt something else too, a spark of hope. "They will remember us," he whispered. He knew the story was only beginning. The humans who survived would disappear into the shadows, reorganize, and grow stronger. The Council had laughed at a warning, and warnings in the galaxy always had a cost. The first wave of survivors reached the outer rim. They moved through abandoned systems, living in small ships that could not be tracked. They shared stories of loss, of cities destroyed, of families gone. Every story was a promise. Every promise was a seed of revenge. Humans did not forgive easily. Humans did not forget. And humans never gave up. In hidden labs on Earth, scientists worked tirelessly. They repaired old ships, reprogrammed old AIs, and stored knowledge that the Council had destroyed. They prepared for the day when humanity would return. That day was not tomorrow. It might be decades or centuries away. But it would come. And when it came, the Council would learn what humans truly were. For now, the galaxy celebrated its victory. Council members drank, laughed, and told stories of how weak humans were. But in quiet corners, some began to wonder. A few, tiny doubts crept in. Could it be true? Could humans survive so much destruction? They shook their heads. They pushed the thought away. There was no need to worry. The humans were gone. They were nothing. But the stars do not lie, and patience is a power few understand. Somewhere, hidden among wreckage and shadow, humans waited. They healed, they rebuilt, and they remembered. And one day the Council would remember them too. The first attacks came without warning. The human colonies had always known the galaxy could be dangerous, but no one expected this. Huge ships, bigger than anything the colonies had ever seen, moved like shadows across the stars. They came from the Council, and their power was immense. On Erebus IV, the mining cities that had once glittered with lights and life now trembled under the roar of energy weapons. The people ran, but there was nowhere to hide. Towers collapsed, streets cracked, and smoke rose like dark clouds. Millions of humans perished in a matter of hours. In the chaos, some tried to fight. Human fleets were small and scattered. They fired what they could, but the Council ships moved faster, hit harder, and coordinated perfectly. On the command bridge of the colony's main ship, a young captain named Daniel Moore shouted orders. "Evade, break formation, protect the civilians." But even his best pilots could not stop the bombardment. Daniel watched as his friends' ships and cities were destroyed one by one. He felt despair, but he did not give up. Survival was all that mattered now. Meanwhile, on Luna Gate, the floating platforms that collected energy from the twin suns began to fall. The Council ships had no mercy. Automated defenses fired back, but it was useless. The humans there knew they could not hold. Engineers, scientists, and workers gathered what they could and fled in small ships. Among them was Maya Lewis, a brilliant engineer who had helped design the energy collectors. She held her younger brother Ben in her arms as they escaped through the debris-filled sky. "We may be losing everything," she whispered, "but we will live. We have to." Kepler's Reach, a research station orbiting a distant star, met the same fate. Alien fleets surrounded the station. Human scientists and soldiers tried to organize defenses, but there was too little time. The energy shields flickered and failed. Explosions tore through labs and living quarters. One scientist, Robert Young, sent out a message to the Council's fleet. "You may destroy us, but know this: humanity does not forgive. Humanity does not forget." The message was ignored. The Council thought it was the last cry of a dying species. Across the galaxy, humans ran. They fled in old freighters, small cargo ships, and even unarmed civilian vessels. They scattered to the edges of explored space. Each ship carried families, stories, and memories of destroyed homes. Many had lost everything, but the determination to survive burned in their hearts. The humans were not soldiers or conquerors yet. They were survivors, and survival was their first victory. Ethan Brooks, a young pilot from one of the colonies, became a leader in this chaos. He had seen his city destroyed, his friends killed, and his family lost. Yet he did not surrender to despair. He gathered what ships he could find and organized a fleet of survivors. They moved quickly and quietly, hiding from the Council's sensors in asteroid belts, black holes, and empty systems. Ethan's crew trusted him because he had a plan, even if no one knew what it was yet. On Earth, the situation was even worse. The Council had sent fleets to orbit the planet, bombarding cities, military bases, and spaceports. People tried to flee underground or into hidden shelters, but there were too many targets. General Linda Carter moved among the ruins of Washington, her soldiers dwindling in number. She visited hospitals, schools, and emergency shelters, helping people escape. Every person she saved, every child she carried to safety, strengthened her resolve. "They may think they can erase us," she said, "but they are wrong. Humanity survives." In the hidden vaults beneath the ruins of New York and Chicago, the ancient military AIs were activated. These machines had been stored long ago, designed to protect humanity in the worst emergencies. Now they analyzed data, repaired ships, and coordinated small groups of survivors. The AIs worked silently, efficiently, and without fear. Humans had created them for emergencies, and this was the worst emergency they could imagine. Yet even in this darkness, humans did not despair. They worked, they repaired, and they planned. Ethan and his fleet moved toward the outer rim of the galaxy. They could not fight the Council directly, not yet. They had too few ships, too little power, but they could survive, and survival was the first step in their long plan. Along the way, they rescued other survivors, pilots, engineers, families, and joined forces. Every new ship that joined them increased their strength but also their hope. They began to share stories of the attacks, of the cities destroyed, of loved ones lost. Each story was a promise. Each promise was a memory of the Council's cruelty. On one of the small freighters, a young boy named Liam watched the stars pass by. He had been too young to understand the war at first, but now he understood fear, loss, and determination. His mother whispered to him, "We will survive, Liam. One day humans will rise again and we will not be weak." The boy nodded, not fully understanding, but he believed. Belief was the first seed of courage. The Council, far away in their golden chamber, continued to celebrate. They had destroyed the colonies, crushed human fleets, and beaten Earth into submission. Alien news networks broadcast the story across the galaxy. "The human war is over," they said. "Humanity is finished." They laughed at the warnings once again. They had forgotten the words of Laura Bennett. They had ignored her prophecy. They thought humans were gone, and that was their greatest mistake. Meanwhile, deep in space, Ethan's fleet discovered old jump points that allowed them to move faster than the Council expected. They used them to escape patrols and ambushes. They learned to hide, to travel silently, and to communicate only in secure channels. Every movement was careful, every decision measured. The humans were learning how to survive, and the Council did not notice. They thought the humans were dead. They did not see the survivors growing stronger in secret. Back on Earth, General Linda Carter worked with a small group of loyal soldiers to organize resistance cells. They repaired old ships, hidden weapons, and communication systems. They created safe zones where civilians could survive. These zones were secret and scattered, impossible for the Council to find. Linda trained people in survival, defense, and strategy. She knew that they could not fight now, but preparation for the future was just as important. Humans were patient, and patience was power. Ethan's fleet eventually reached a remote system with a habitable planet. They landed, repaired their ships, and began to rebuild. They cultivated food, repaired engines, and trained new pilots. Every person contributed. Engineers designed new ships in secret. Soldiers practiced maneuvers, and families rebuilt their lives. Humans did not wait for rescue. They acted. They survived. And in their hearts, they remembered the Council's cruelty. In hidden labs, the ancient AIs worked alongside humans to analyze the enemy's tactics. They recorded every movement of the Council's fleets, calculated weaknesses, and prepared strategies. Humans were learning, and learning fast. Even the youngest children were taught to read star charts and understand signals. Humanity was small, but it was growing stronger, quietly and patiently. The Council remained unaware. They believed the humans were finished. Their fleets patrolled the stars confidently. They took colonies without challenge. They boasted of their victory, mocking the memory of Earth. But far from the golden halls of power, the survivors moved, hidden and determined. They were small, but they were alive. They were human, and humans never stopped. As the first year of survival passed, Ethan called a meeting with all the leaders of the surviving fleet. "We have survived the first wave," he said. "We have lost much, but we are still here. The Council thinks we are gone. They are wrong. We will rebuild. We will prepare, and one day, we will remind them what humans are capable of." Laura Bennett's words from the Council chamber years ago echoed in their minds. "We will hunt you forever." Humans now understood the meaning. Survival was not the end. Survival was the beginning. Every loss, every memory of destruction, every promise of revenge was stored in their hearts. They would not attack blindly, but they would not forgive, and they would not forget. In secret, human ships continued to move. Small groups explored, scavenged, and trained. Engineers built new technology from the ruins of old colonies. Soldiers trained with precision. Families taught children to understand the stars and remember their history. The galaxy may have thought humans were weak, but humans were patient, and patience was dangerous. The first wave of survivors settled on remote planets. hidden among asteroid belts and gas clouds. They rebuilt small cities, farms, and defenses. They planted trees, repaired old ships, and shared stories of what had happened. Every story reminded them of the Council's cruelty. Every story strengthened their will. They were not defeated. Humanity survived, and survival was the first step toward the future. Even in hiding, humans sent messages across secret channels, warning other survivors and sharing strategies. They did not seek revenge yet, but they prepared for it. The Council had thought they had erased humanity. They had destroyed colonies and fleets. They had bombed Earth, but humans had survived. They were learning, growing, and waiting. And when the time came, the galaxy would remember the warning. Humans never stop. And in that quiet, dark place among the stars, Ethan Brooks looked at his fleet and smiled. "We are not many," he said, "but we are still human. And being human is enough." Years passed and the galaxy began to forget about humanity. The Council believed Earth and its colonies were gone. The news network spoke of humans in the past tense, telling stories of their weakness and the speed with which they were crushed. Alien children learned in school that humans were extinct. Scientists and soldiers alike assumed the humans had vanished. The galaxy thought it was safe. But far from the golden halls of the Council, humanity quietly grew stronger. The survivors had settled on remote planets, hidden among asteroid belts and gas clouds. Ethan Brooks, now older and wiser, led a growing fleet. The humans had rebuilt some ships, improved old engines, and learned to move silently through the stars. Every movement was careful. Every action was precise. They avoided the Council's patrols, knowing that open combat would be suicide. But they were not idle. Humanity was learning, and learning fast. In the hidden laboratories of Kepler's Reach, Maya Lewis worked alongside engineers to develop new technology. They built stealth ships, improved weapons, and designed new engines that could move faster and quieter than anything the Council had. Children were taught to read star maps, navigate in the dark, and understand alien communication systems. Even the youngest were trained in observation and memory. Survival had made humanity clever, and cleverness was dangerous. One day, Ethan received a message from a scout ship. The transmission was weak, but the words were clear. A Council patrol found an abandoned mining colony. They report strange damage. Ships missing. No survivors. Symbols carved on the walls. Erebus remembered. Ethan's face tightened. "It has begun," he whispered. The humans had not attacked, not yet. They had moved carefully, testing their abilities, watching the Council. But now the first signs of the Ghost War had appeared. The humans had learned patience, and patience was deadly. The Council, far away, continued to celebrate their victory. They had fleets patrolling the outer rim, guarding resources and enforcing order. When one of the patrols reported missing ships, the leaders laughed. "It must be pirates," said the Zarkon chairman. "Humans do not exist anymore. There is no threat." The laughter echoed across the Council chamber. They had no idea how wrong they were. On the outer rim, human ships moved silently. Ethan led small strike teams to scout Council systems. They did not attack yet. They gathered information, recorded fleet movements, and left messages in secret. Symbols, markings, and codes reminded the galaxy that humans were alive. Every act was deliberate. Every warning left behind carried a single message. Humans remembered. A young alien investigator named Kellen Drax noticed the patterns first. Kellen worked for the Council, tracking fleet movements and reporting unusual events. Over the past decade, entire mining worlds had gone dark. Ships vanished without a trace. Distress calls were silent, and sensors detected nothing unusual. Only Kellen noticed that the attacks always happened in areas connected to the Council's past war against humans. He presented his findings to the Council. "Sir," he said, "there is a pattern. These worlds were attacked long after the war. The humans may still be alive. Their tactics are clever. They are targeting our outposts with precision." The Council laughed again. "Nonsense," said the Eltharian diplomat. "Humans are extinct. This is superstition. Do not waste time on ghosts." But Kellen could not forget what he had seen. The ships had vanished. Entire crews disappeared, and the messages carved into wreckage were clear. Remember Erebus. Remember Luna Gate. Remember Kepler's Reach. Ethan Brooks' fleet had grown. They had rescued other survivors, hidden in distant corners of space. Every ship carried people who had lost homes, families, and friends. Every survivor carried a promise the Council would pay for what it had done. Humans were patient, but they remembered. The humans' first attacks were not meant to conquer. They were meant to warn, to remind, and to teach fear. The Ghost War began quietly. Council patrols sent to check mining worlds found empty stations, wrecked equipment, and nothing else. Some sent signals for help, but help never arrived. Human ships moved faster than the Council could track. They attacked only lightly, causing confusion rather than destruction, yet the panic spread. For the first time in decades, Council species wondered if the humans might still exist. In the Council chambers, concern began to grow. "Are you certain?" asked one delegate, his voice trembling. "The humans cannot still be alive. They were destroyed. All evidence says so." "I am certain," Kellen replied. "The attacks are too precise. The patterns are too deliberate. Someone is planning something, and it is not pirates or rebels. It is humans." The Council laughed nervously, but doubt had begun to creep in. The first cracks in their confidence appeared. Years of believing humanity was gone had made them complacent, and complacency was dangerous. Back in hidden human colonies, Ethan called a meeting with leaders of the scattered fleet. "The Council believes we are gone," he said. "They think we are weak, scattered, and afraid. They are wrong. We have survived, we have learned, and we have patience. The first phase of our plan is observation. We test their fleets, record their habits, and teach fear without revealing ourselves. We will strike when they do not expect it." Maya Lewis added. "We have technology now they cannot imagine. Ships that are faster and quieter, weapons that can hit without warning. We can move through the galaxy like shadows. They will not see us coming until it is too late." Human children trained in navigation and observation were now helping plot courses for scouting missions. Engineers prepared new stealth systems and cloaking devices. Soldiers learned to use alien weapons and adapt to different combat strategies. Every human contributed. Every human learned. Survival had made them stronger. Meanwhile, the Council grew uneasy. Patrols began to report more disappearances. Some ships vanished without debris. Some entire stations were found destroyed in ways that defied explanation. Panic began to spread among the lesser species. No one wanted to admit fear, but the pattern was undeniable. Humans were alive. Humans were learning. Humans were patient. Ethan's fleet conducted small strikes with precision. A Council supply depot would disappear. A patrol ship would vanish. No one knew why, and the Council could not respond in time. Humans did not destroy the galaxy. They only reminded it that they existed. Every message carved into wreckage carried the memory of what the Council had done to humanity. Erebus remembered. Lunagate remembered. Kepler's Reach remembered. Council leaders began to argue. "We underestimated them," said one. "Perhaps they are gone. Perhaps this is a minor threat." "No," said Kellen Drax. "This is not minor. They are patient, precise, and organized. If we do not act now, the humans will strike in ways we cannot predict." Ethan knew the human strength lay in patience. They did not rush. They did not attack blindly. They had learned that time was on their side. The longer they waited, the stronger they became. The longer the Council believed humans were extinct, the easier it would be to punish them later. In one remote system, Ethan led a team to recover a hidden Council data relay. The relay held hundreds of messages, coordinates, and fleet movements. Humans moved silently, taking the data and leaving no trace of their presence. The Council would never know who had done it. But the humans did. Every piece of intelligence added to their knowledge, their strategy, and their eventual revenge. Kellen Drax began to fear that the humans were more than survivalists. They were hunters. The words of Laura Bennett, once dismissed, echoed in his mind. "If you attack humans, they will hunt you forever." For the first time, he understood that humans had never been weak. They had only been underestimated. Across hidden human colonies, Ethan addressed his fleet again. "We do not strike for conquest. We do not strike for glory. We strike to remind them, to show them that laughter is dangerous, to prove that humanity never stops. The galaxy believes we are gone. Let us teach them that they were wrong." The first small victories were celebrated quietly. A patrol ship disappeared. A supply depot vanished. Council scientists scratched their heads. How could humans still exist? How could they strike so carefully, so invisibly? Fear began to spread, but the Council tried to maintain confidence. On Earth, hidden resistance cells worked tirelessly. Soldiers trained in secret. Engineers rebuilt ships, and families prepared for the long fight ahead. Humanity had become a ghost in the galaxy, waiting for the right moment to return. Every action was deliberate. Every preparation was important. The council would not know what hit them. Ethan's fleet continued to grow. Survivors joined from remote systems. Each new member carried knowledge, skill, and determination. Humans remembered the council's cruelty. Every loss, every destroyed city, every family killed was stored in their minds. They did not act recklessly. They did not attack blindly. They waited. And as the council celebrated what they believed was their victory, the first seeds of fear took root. Humans were alive. Humans were patient. Humans remembered. The Ghost War had begun, and the galaxy would soon learn that humans were hunters, not prey. In the shadows, Ethan Brooks looked at the stars. "The galaxy thinks we are gone," he said. "Let them think. Let them prepare. When the time comes, they will remember why humanity must never be underestimated." The galaxy had grown quiet in some places, but that silence was dangerous. Humans moved like shadows, unseen but always present. For decades, the Council had laughed at their warning. They believed humanity had vanished. Now, the first signs of real danger began to appear. The Council fleets no longer moved with complete confidence. Panic was spreading. Ethan Brooks stood on the bridge of the flagship, Horizon's Edge. The ship was sleek, black, and almost invisible to sensors. Hundreds of smaller ships moved silently. Around it, each carrying survivors, engineers, and soldiers. They had been hiding for years, but now the time had come to strike in earnest. Ethan's eyes scanned the stars. "Today, we remind them," he said. His voice was calm, but every word carried determination. The first target was a small council colony called Vargas Prime. It had been used to produce energy and supplies for fleets that had attacked human colonies years before. The humans did not attack recklessly. They studied the defenses for weeks, noting every patrol route, every weapon position, and every communication signal. Then, under the cover of a black nebula, they moved. Maya Lewis and her engineering team had designed weapons capable of hitting the colony without warning. Lasers cut silently through shields, disabling communication systems. Explosions erupted in key supply depots, crippling production. Human ships moved in and out before the Council could respond. The colonists had no chance to call for help. The attack lasted less than an hour. When it was over, the humans were gone, leaving only a warning carved into the surface of the colony. Erebus remembered. "We never forget." The Council was stunned. For the first time, they realized humans were not only alive, but capable of precise, coordinated strikes. Panic spread through the golden halls. The Zarkon chairman banged his claws on the table. "This is impossible. Humans are extinct. How can they be attacking our colonies?" Kellen Drax stood nearby, feeling a mix of fear and awe. "Sir, the humans are organized. They are moving with precision. They are not reckless. They are hunting." The laughter that had once filled the chamber was gone. Council members whispered nervously to each other. Some wanted to launch a full fleet to find the humans, but Kellen warned them. They will not be easy to find. They move silently, strike carefully, and vanish. Any fleet sent without planning will be destroyed or captured. Meanwhile, human survivors moved quickly from system to system. They hit supply lines, patrols, and small stations that had once mocked them. Every strike was a message. Humanity remembered the past. Every attack spread fear across the galaxy. Alien scientists and soldiers tried to understand what was happening, but the humans' tactics were unpredictable, yet precise. No one had ever fought like this. On one of the stealth ships, a young soldier named Nina Hart prepared for her first strike. She had lost her family to the Council's initial attacks and had spent years training for this moment. Her hands shook slightly, but her resolve was firm. "This is for my home," she whispered. "This is for everyone they destroyed." She activated the targeting system, and the ship's weapons powered up. Within minutes, the mission was complete. The humans disappeared before the Council could respond. The psychological effect was even greater than the physical damage. Council fleets hesitated. Colonies fortified their defenses, but it was too late. Fear had entered the galaxy. Whispers spread of humans moving unseen, striking without warning, and leaving nothing but destruction and warnings. Alien leaders who had once mocked humanity now worried. "Perhaps we underestimated them," one said quietly. "Perhaps we should have listened to the warning." Back on Earth, General Linda Carter and the remaining resistance organized intelligence networks. They tracked Council movements, relayed information to Ethan's fleet, and coordinated attacks on key supply lines. The humans were no longer scattered survivors. They were a shadow army hidden across the galaxy, preparing for the moment when they would strike decisively. Ethan called a meeting of his fleet leaders. "We are no longer hiding," he said. "We are teaching them a lesson. Every colony we strike, every patrol we destroy is a message. They thought they could erase humanity. They were wrong. We do not seek to conquer. We seek to remind them. We strike carefully, strike with precision, and vanish. That is how humans fight." The first large-scale engagement occurred near the Varga Nebula, a region used by the Council to patrol outer systems. Ethan led 50 ships against a patrol of 70 Council vessels. The humans did not attack head-on. They used hit-and-run tactics, targeting engines and weapons systems first. Within hours, 10 Council ships were disabled, 3 destroyed, and the rest fled in panic. No human ship was lost. The Council watched the battle unfold through distant sensors. The Zarkon chairman turned pale. How is this possible? They were too few. They should have lost immediately. Kellen Drax, who had been studying the humans for years, finally spoke. "They are not weak. They are patient, intelligent, and fearless. They have learned from their losses. Every strike is calculated, every move planned. This is not a fight. This is a hunt." Fear spread through the Council faster than any battle could. Members began to argue among themselves. Should they negotiate? Should they launch a full attack? But fear had clouded their judgment. Every decision was slow, hesitant, and wrong. Humanity had learned to use patience as a weapon. Ethan's fleet moved from system to system, hitting supply depots, communication arrays, and patrol fleets. Every attack was small, fast, and precise. The Council could not predict where humans would strike next. Their fear grew with each unexplained disappearance. Reports came in of entire fleets vanishing without a trace, of stations destroyed while patrols watched helplessly, of humans leaving, symbols and messages that reminded the galaxy of past cruelty. In one attack, Maya Lewis led a strike on a Council weapons depot. She had studied the layout for months and knew exactly where to strike. Within minutes, the depot was destroyed, its defenses disabled, and no human was seen. On the walls, the simple message read, "Kepler's reach remembered. You will remember us." Across the galaxy, alien species began to panic. Some pleaded for peace. Some tried to flee to distant systems. Some built massive defenses around their colonies. But it was too late. Humans were everywhere and nowhere, moving like ghosts, striking like shadows. On the horizon's edge, Ethan watched reports come in. Each victory strengthened the fleet. Every destroyed patrol, every crippled station, every frightened Council world reminded him that patience and preparation were stronger than fleets or weapons. "They thought they could destroy us in days," he said to his officers. "They thought we were weak, they were wrong, we survived, we remember. And now, they will know fear." In secret, General Linda Carter coordinated human cells on Earth. She ensured that hidden technologies and weapons were protected, ready for when humanity would finally strike decisively. She trained new soldiers, engineers, and pilots, preparing for the larger campaign that would come. The survivors were no longer just fleeing. They were building the foundation of a return that the galaxy would never forget. The Council, meanwhile, was paralyzed. Panic replaced laughter. Orders were delayed. Fleets were sent to wrong systems. Miscommunication caused chaos. Leaders argued endlessly about what to do. Every delay was a victory for humanity. Every mistake made by the Council was recorded by human scouts, stored for future strikes. Kellen Drax could see the truth now. The humans were patient hunters. They did not attack without reason. They did not waste resources. Every action was planned, precise, and deadly. He knew that the Galaxy Council had made a terrible mistake. They had laughed at the warning. They had thought humans were weak. Now, the warning was real. Ethan and his fleet moved silently again. The humans struck only where necessary, teaching fear and demonstrating their presence. They did not conquer planets. They did not occupy colonies. They reminded the Council of every loss, every family destroyed, and every city burned. Humanity's return was not chaos. It was calculated, deliberate, and terrifying. For the first time, the galaxy understood the truth. Humans were hunters, not prey. Their patience made them dangerous. Their memory made them unstoppable. And the Council, which had thought itself all-powerful, was beginning to see that the humans they had crushed so long ago were now ghosts, shadows, and predators. Ethan looked out at the stars one night from the bridge of the horizon's edge. "They think they are safe," he said softly. "They think we are gone. They were wrong. We are here. We remember. And we will never stop." The first major phase of humanity's return was complete. The Council's confidence was shattered. Fear spread through their ranks. The humans had begun their hunt, and the galaxy would never be the same. The stars were quiet, but in that silence, humans moved like shadows, striking precisely, disappearing without a trace, and teaching the galaxy that humanity could not be destroyed. And far away, the Council realized too late that laughter had been the beginning of their doom. The galaxy had changed. Fear spread across stars and planets, reaching even the most distant Council worlds. Humanity, once thought destroyed, had become a legend. Entire fleets vanished, supply lines disappeared, and colonies trembled. The Council no longer laughed. They no longer acted with confidence. Every order, every plan was slow, hesitant, and full of doubt. Humans had taught the galaxy a lesson that would not be forgotten. Ethan Brooks stood on the bridge of the horizon's edge, watching reports from every sector. Every strike, every disappearance, every sign of fear strengthened the humans' position. The fleet had grown over the years, now numbering in the hundreds. It was small compared to the Council's forces, but humans no longer relied on numbers. They relied on strategy, precision, and fear. Every human ship was part of a larger plan, a silent wave moving across the galaxy. Maya Lewis worked with engineers to prepare the next series of strikes. Their goal was not destruction alone. It was to show the Council the cost of underestimating humanity. Using intelligence gathered over decades, they identified the key locations that had once attacked human colonies. Now these places would become examples. Signals, weapons, and surveillance arrays were disabled before human ships arrived. Every attack was planned to leave no survivors among the Council forces. Every message carved into the wreckage reminded the galaxy of humanity's memory. The first target in this final phase was Orion Station, a massive research hub in the center of Council space. The station had been used to plan attacks against human colonies years ago. Ethan's fleet approached quietly, hidden in the shadows of a nearby asteroid field. Scouts reported the station's defenses, patrol patterns, and communications. The humans waited, patient as ever. When the attack began, it was swift and precise. Human ships struck simultaneously from multiple angles. Shields were disabled within minutes. Weapons depots exploded. Communication arrays were destroyed. The station's population had no chance to call for help. Within an hour, Orion Station was no longer functional. On the walls of the station, carved by human teams before they left, were the words, Erebus, Lunagate, Kepler's Reach remembered. Humanity never forgets. Across the galaxy, panic spread. Reports of attacks, disappearances, and destroyed fleets reached the Council chambers. The Zarkon chairman's face was pale, and the whispers of doubt had become shouts. How can they be everywhere and nowhere at the same time? One delegate asked. Kellen Drax, who had long studied the humans, answered quietly. They are hunters. They are not reckless. They strike with precision, patience, and intelligence. They remember every loss. They will not stop until the lesson is learned. The Council had begun to realize their mistake. For decades, they had laughed at humanity, dismissing warnings as superstition. They had thought humans weak, fragile, and short-lived. Now the galaxy was paying the price for that arrogance. Ethan's fleet moved to the Typhon Cluster, a series of planets used by the Council to gather resources for their fleets. Human ships struck silently, disabling supply lines, disabling weapons factories, and causing chaos without revealing their positions. Entire fleets sent to protect these planets vanished or were crippled. No human ship was lost. Every strike reinforced the humans' reputation as unstoppable, intelligent and patient hunters. On one planet in the cluster, a young pilot named Liam Carter, the same boy who had once fled with his mother, led a strike team. He had grown up training for this moment, learning from veterans like Ethan and Maya. With calm precision, he disabled key systems, leaving only a warning message. The humans remember. We hunt. You will never forget. The psychological impact of these strikes was devastating. Entire species within the Council began to lose confidence. Colonies fortified their defenses, but the humans did not attack blindly. They struck only where necessary, teaching fear, uncertainty, and respect. Every message, every attack, reminded the galaxy that humans had survived and had grown stronger. Meanwhile, hidden human colonies across distant systems continued to prepare. Engineers built new stealth ships, weapons, and communications networks. Soldiers trained in strategy, combat, and survival. Families taught children to read the stars, navigate in silence, and understand the history of what had happened. Humanity was patient, but preparation had made them unstoppable. Back in the council chambers, arguments raged. Some delegates called for negotiation. Others demanded a full-scale attack to find and destroy the humans. Kellen Drax tried to warn them, but fear clouded reason. You cannot attack them blindly, he said. They have learned. They are intelligent. Every fleet you send without planning will be destroyed, but it was too late. The Council's confidence had been shattered. The humans were not chasing conquest. They were teaching fear. They moved in shadows, striking at key locations, leaving messages that reminded everyone of past atrocities. The galaxy remembered the humans now, not as weak, not as fragile, but as hunters who never forgot. Ethan Brooks called a meeting of all human leaders. The galaxy is afraid, he said. They know we exist. They know we remember. But we do not attack without reason. We are patient. We are careful. When we strike, it will be decisive. And when this is done, the galaxy will learn a lesson it will never forget. Maya Lewis nodded. We have waited for decades. We have learned. We have prepared. Humanity's patience has made us stronger than any fleet, any weapon, any empire. The Council has underestimated us for too long. Now we show them the cost of that mistake. The humans' final strikes were surgical. Council fleets were destroyed, supply lines severed, and key worlds rendered unusable. No civilian populations were harmed unnecessarily, but every military target that had attacked humanity in the past was neutralized. The galaxy trembled under the precision of humanity's revenge. In one final operation, Ethan led a team to the Central Command Station, the heart of the Council's power. The fleet moved silently, avoiding sensors, and struck with precision. Within hours, the command center was disabled. Communication networks collapsed, and the Council's fleets were thrown into chaos. The leaders could no longer coordinate. Panic became total. On the walls of the ruined station, human teams left their final message. You laughed at our warning. You thought we were gone. We are patient. We are intelligent. We are human. And now, you will remember why. The galaxy was quiet after that. The Council had not been completely destroyed, but their fleets, their power, and their confidence had been shattered. No one dared challenge the humans again. The galaxy now understood that humans were not weak, not fragile, not short-lived. Humans were hunters, survivors, and strategists. Humanity's patience had been the deadliest weapon of all. Ethan Brooks looked at the stars from the horizon's edge. The battle was over, but the war had never been about conquest. It had been about teaching a lesson. Humanity had survived, learned, and struck when the time was right. The Council and the galaxy would never forget the warning they had once laughed at. In the years that followed, humans withdrew into the shadows once more. They did not conquer the galaxy. They did not occupy worlds. They disappeared quietly, leaving behind only stories, legends, and memories of what they could do. The message was clear. Do not underestimate humans. Do not forget. And if you ever attack them again, remember, they hunt forever. On a distant hidden planet, Maya Lewis, Ethan Brooks, and other leaders watched as new generations of humans trained and prepared. They taught children to read the stars, navigate silently, and remember their history. Humanity would never be weak again. They had survived, and they had taught the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. Kellen Drax, observing from a distance, could only marvel. Humans had taken what was destroyed and turned it into strength. They had used patience, intelligence, and precision to outsmart an entire empire. They are not just survivors, he whispered. They are humanity, and they are unstoppable. The Council, scattered and defeated, would rebuild slowly, but the memory of humans would remain. Every fleet, every colony, every species would remember the lesson. Humans do not forget. Humans do not forgive. Humans are patient hunters, and patience is the deadliest weapon in the galaxy. And so the humans vanished once more into the shadows. The galaxy remained, trembling, remembering. The warning that had been laughed at for decades now echoed in every system. Humans will hunt forever. They never forget. They are patient. They are intelligent. They are human. Ethan Brooks stood one last time on the bridge of the horizon's edge, looking at the stars. The galaxy was quiet, the Council humbled, and humanity hidden. "We are human," he said softly. "We survived. We learned. And we will never be weak again." The stars were calm, but every planet, every fleet, every alien species now understood that a patient, intelligent, and determined human was not something to be underestimated. The warning had been clear, and the lesson had been learned. Humanity would survive forever, and the galaxy would always remember.